data that we have at our fingertips and patients have at our fingertips, it can make management of the patient better, but at the same time, it serves sometimes as a constant reminder to the patient that they are living with this disease, and that's something we often forget about. I mean, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, no, that is absolutely true, and that was kind of the wife's take on it. When they travel, he has to bring all his paraphernalia, and then the backup, because supposing your pump fails, you got to bring needles and syringes and your bottled insulin, and so it definitely can be overwhelming. But the people on the cutting edge, the technology people, we're working with the engineers. The ultimate goal is to have all of this running in the background and to have the patient live their life. But it is. Well, I've been in the field, right, like 40 years since medical school. So, it's time. I mean, things move slowly, but now they're moving much more rapidly. And I think that we may have a true artificial pancreas maybe within the next 10 years. What we have now is a hybrid closed loop, and we're still having the problem with the mealtime. But we're kind of moving forward. So what that physician said is absolutely true right now.
Mm-hmm.
But It's kind of like you have to have growing pains until you finally get to the finished product. We're not at the finished product yet, and it's been a long time in coming, but the advances have been remarkable. And like I said, that's why I feel way fortunate, because I've been in the field so long and been involved with glucose monitoring and diabetes management, since the late 70s. So I really feel privileged that we can see what's been happening, and it's been slow in coming, but it's definitely moving forward at a more rapid pace, and I think eventually we'll be in the background. But we're not there yet. Where you talk about unmet needs and the real problem around prandial insulin and around eating and figuring
right.
the carbs and the problem with everybody digests food slightly differently, and then glucose appears in the bloodstream slightly differently. So that's been that's been the real hurdle, why we don't have a full, artificial pancreas.
Gotcha.
But I'm not just
great.
Maybe I'm too. No, I'm basically an optimistic person, but I also know that's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not even going to happen next year. I'm hoping within a decade. I don't think that's unreasonable based on what I've seen happen in the past 10 years.
Yep.
And how technology has advanced. Mm-hmm.
That is something to hope for. That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for going through all of that. I'm wondering now if you wouldn't mind switching to type 2s
Sure.
and really focusing in more on basal insulin within the type 2s. And so my first question is, how challenging is it to initiate basal insulin in your type 2 patients?
Well, actually, like I was saying, a lot easier than initiating prandial. Insulin's a hormone. We go on weight-based therapy, and depending on how high the blood sugar is, we'll start at 0.1 unit per kilo. If it's very high, A1C is 14 or 15, I'll usually give 0.2 unit per kilo. And we're using, traditionally Atlantis, and now we have Degludec, which people are using. It's really a much better insulin, but the uptake of it hasn't been as brisk as I would have thought. But I think because Atlantis has been so entrenched, and now we have some biosimilars to check out. We've been checking out. So we have more options, but using an insulin pen and using a one shot a day, once people get past, we talk about kind of fear of injecting, but once we show patients, it's almost never that I have someone who says,